Hey friends, it's Mr. S, and I'm back today to do something a little different with you guys. So, one of my favorite things to do is art, because it's a way for us to express ourselves, to get our feelings out. And one of the things that really bugs a lot of teachers is something called ECERS. And not that it's a bad thing, but sometimes it's difficult to find ways to match all the requirements for ECERS. And I'm here to tell you guys one of the easiest, fun, simple, kind of messy but not really ways to meet the standards for ECERS as far as art while having a fun time and letting children explore and use different materials that they might not use all the time. So, the materials I have today are air dry clay, which I got at Walmart. So you can kind of get it at Walmart, or I'm sure they sell it at Lakeshore or any kind of other retailer. They might have it at Target. I haven't checked there yet. So air dry clay, that's a must. Or you can use an alternative like Play-Doh or other kinds of clay. One of the cool things that we did in my class was we used non-drying clay, so it stayed moist and the children could actually revisit their artwork and change it up as they pleased that day, or they can change with a friend and they can work on each other's art. So there's a lot of options there. This dries up so it stays the same way after, but you could also experiment, say, the non-dry clay with dry clay and the differences, and let the children explain. Maybe you can even ask them why it dries up. So that would have to do with science and kind of wondering a mystery. So the other things that I have today are what they're called fuzzy sticks, or I always call pipette cleaners or pipe cleaners. So that's always a great way to add the 3D effect to it. We have art and craft sticks, as I like to call popsicle sticks. So another way we can add an element to the 3D effect. And something I like to add is something like feathers. A great thing you guys can do, I don't have the materials right now, but we can always do a natural type of free choice art and make 3D. So you can get sticks, you can get leaves of different sorts, and they can add them. They can make trees, especially with the non-drying clay. That also works really well with an activity like this. And I have something like that on my Facebook page. So if you go check the Facebook, you guys can see at the beginning of my post there was something about making naturalistic 3D art. So you guys can check that out. And later on, if you guys want it, I can make a video about how to do that and things to ask and how to really enrich that type of activity. So here we go. So what do? Okay, well first, we open up the clay. Ooh. And this clay is really fun. It doesn't really get very messy. It has a little bit of a, kind of like a dryness to it. So like you'll see some powder on your fingers after a while, but it's not too bad. And you just leave it out for the night or day, and it'll just dry up on its own. Just remember to seal up the rest of the clay, because if you don't seal it up, then you will run into some issues, because obviously it's going to dry up, and we don't want that, right? And there's a lot of clay in here. I mean, you can probably give 20 children this amount of clay and still have some left over. So you don't have to go overboard with it. And also, I always give the children a little bit to start out with. That way they kind of something moderate to build, and you need to store it somewhere. So if children are making huge clay structures, then you're not going to be able to store it anywhere, because they do break if you don't store them correctly. So I always put wax paper would work really well, or some kind of material that would allow it to non-stick. Construction paper, I've used it before, because you don't want the material to stick to the paper and then when you rip it breaks or something. So just to be safe, I'm going to add some pipettes here. So some fun stuff you can do is twirl them around on your finger. There we go. You can, one really cool thing I saw some children doing is they were making these kind of arches. I thought that was really cool, from one side to the other. Then I always encourage children to try to combine the arches, so maybe like do some kind of like intertwined system. You could even attach one of these pipette cleaners just to the other pipette cleaners and not even attach it to the clay, and still add some kind of dynamic to it. There we go. Okay, so let's add some sticks to it. And remember, you can always encourage children to add whatever materials they feel they want to add to it. So let's say you have something else in your classroom, like some beads or something, or you have some kind of gems or jewels. And really anything they can add to it, and it'll add to the effect. I've had children even paint them with markers and color them. You can do all kinds of stuff to this clay. Add some stuff here. You can even see what happens if you attach the dry clay and mix it up with the non-drying clay. See what happens there. Ask the children to help you write some kind of observation about what would happen. And the possibilities are endless here. Okay. You can encourage children to use multiple colors. Count how many feathers are you going to use? Oh, I'm going to use 3 feathers. Wow. And did you decide to use any other colors for the pipettes? Yeah, I want to use blue. Oh, I see that you're using a blue one. Did you think about using a red one? You know, I think I do want to use a red one. So we can always encourage them to add other colors. And like just from what I just said, would you like to use a red one? That kind of tells them, okay, what color do I want to use now? And it tells you, when they choose red and you ask, do you want to use red? That means they know their color. So if you say, oh, did you think about using a blue one? Yeah, I want to use a blue one, and then they take out a blue one, you know that they know that color. Even though they'll learn the colors eventually. I mean, some people like to know that the children know their colors. So here it is. I finished my art activity, Mr. S. I'm going to bring it up to the camera and show you guys up close so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. And this is just an easy, simple way. It took me 10 minutes less to do this, so great little activity. It's a lot of fun. Children really enjoy it, and they really just, have a good time with it. And here it is, my beautiful art piece, a very abstract, very different. And if you just leave this to dry overnight, it'll be ready to go by the next day. So you can even do it over the weekend, or you can do it, wherever you want and leave it out. Or you can do it one day and the children go to sleep at night and the next day they come and boom, their artwork is ready to take home. Okay, so I don't know what you want to call it. I call it 3D drying clay sculpture. You can call it whatever you want. And if the kids want to, they can just use the clay and create things out of it. So lots of possibilities, lots of options. Hope you guys enjoyed the clay sculpture, and it's a great way to add some 3D art into your classroom, which I know can be difficult at times. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. See you later.